All right, Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rahah, Kodash, double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessing to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect. Shalom, Barakatham. And y'all really should not have trusted in this quote-unquote bag. This is a headline from the IMF, which the IMF stands for the International Monetary Fund. Okay, they're a wicked organization. And it says, World Economic Order is experiencing a major reset. Okay, so people look in the news, and the word that you hear the most is like tariff, because that's what Donald Trump has been spouting. You know, I saw those them light skinned niggas, the Hodge twins. They got a shirt called the Tariff Sheriff. Y'all think this shit is all fun and games, but when a lot of these small businesses go belly up, okay? A lot of these people that got online businesses that drop ship, they go belly up. Y'all are gonna see even further contraction in the economy because a lot of that stuff comes from China, okay? Now, Esau, big companies like Nike, Walmart, they can afford the tariff, okay? So this is gonna be, what I foresee, the same thing that happened around 2020 when about 2/3 of small businesses shut down because of the lockdowns. And who absorbed all of that? Companies like Walmart, companies like Amazon, Tesla. All right, they all came up during that period because smaller businesses, when they go out of business, all of the market share goes up to the bigger businesses. Okay, you think about a mom and pop shop supermarket around the corner. Okay, if they close down, everybody that used to go there is gonna go to Walmart now, you know. So this is what we see happening with all from Trump just doing those tariffs. It says the International Monetary Fund has warned that the international economic system is undergoing fundamental transformation due to mounting uncertainty over U.S. trade policy. All right, and so this is why the scriptures say they're going to cast their silver in the streets. Okay? That's in Ezekiel 7:19. Yep. It says, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed, and their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh. So all of you that trusted in a bag, you put it into a real estate portfolio. A lot of you people that got these large real estate portfolios, y'all think y'all are rich forever because the real estate bubble has never crashed. But what y'all don't realize is that unprecedented things have been happening. Okay, now I heard it earlier that the idea of a mortgage wasn't really a thing before World War II. Okay, World War II, that's when you got mortgages. Okay, but before that, houses were so cheap and people had such a good sense of saving that people could actually save up and buy their whole house cash. That's how most people bought a house. Okay, you stay with your parents, or you work on this or work on that, and then you got enough to buy a house outright. Okay, after World War II, after the Fed, after the Bank of International Settlements, okay, at the Bretton Woods Agreement, to make the U.S. dollar the reserve currency, banking got out of control and they started offering mortgages, okay? And because people could bump their loan terms back, they started buying more and more expensive houses that they wouldn't have bought if they had to save up for it cash. You know, you're more likely to buy a house for $150,000 than $100,000, okay, if you can get it on a mortgage on credit. You know, whereas if you had to save that money, you probably just gonna buy a cheaper house. So people kept buying more and more expensive houses, and that's why real estate has always grown, because it just constantly goes up and it goes up and it goes up. But this is off the back of whatchamacallit, you know, them basically getting you onto a credit system. Okay, now what's happening is the real estate market now, all right, is at a huge bubble. Okay, I think it's around $50 trillion. Okay, which is like 160% of the United States GDP. and it says, Slovakia. Going back. So you real estate, all of you real estate guys, y'all have never seen an economic crash. Y'all have never seen a real estate crash before, but guess what? It's gonna happen because it's gotten too far beyond the control. Now people can't even afford it with credit. Okay? Even if you were to lower the interest rates back down to zero, you still won't be able to afford it. And so what's going to happen when people can't afford it? The prices are going to collapse. Okay? And a lot of people are going to lose equity in their homes. They're going to default. You know? Reading some more of this article, it says, at the same time, it announced a cut in its global growth forecast. The IMF is talking about. All right, the IMF said that since President Trump returned to office in January, he has imposed sweeping trade restrictions not seen since the Great Depression. So this is the era that we're back into. This is why real estate, if you got a real estate portfolio, your ass is still a liability. A lot of you get real estate portfolios, and what you do is you operate off of cash flow by renting them. You know, me personally, I was gonna get into it, and you know, I still might. You know, I'm just not gonna be in a rush to do anything because we all know what comes first. You know, but I'm not dealing with renters and tenants. Okay, if I build something, I'm selling it right for that price, and I'm pocketing the cash, and I'm moving that over into gold or something else. A lot of these people, they're proud and high-minded because they got 30 properties, but they're all cash flow. Now, what's going to happen when the equity in those things go upside down? Okay, and then when that happens, all right, everything starts going sideways. Your tenants can't afford their rent anymore, and they start going delinquent. Okay. Then you can't make the mortgage payments at all if you don't have people renting it. Okay? And then your recourse to that would be to sell, but if you're going to sell, remember the whole market collapsed now, so you have to sell at a loss. So this is why you never get proud, man. This is what the scriptures tell you. All right? First Timothy 6:17, charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, man. I'm sure they got some more meat on that. Okay, so this is the thought of these people, man. All of these MAGA supporters, they thought Kamala was going to destroy America, which she was, you know. But what y'all don't realize is those people are not in charge, man. The reason everything is getting destroyed because you got a bunch of demons running everything behind the scenes. Okay, you can't even say certain things. You got a task force for the anti, speakers. All right, and we're not even going to be able to be on the highways and byways anymore, or even the internet pretty soon, with the way things are going. Okay, but these were something called uncertain riches. All right. This all started with them going with tariffs and the trade war. Because you wondering, like, what does a tariff have to do with real estate or the whole market at large? Well, what they did was they poked the bear, China. Because China is the economic bear. They produce damn near everything. Okay? And now they're exposing these luxury brands now. Okay, I think Hermes has lost, what, $9 billion in market cap. Okay, people always knew that those luxury brands were bullshit, but now China openly saying it now, so now everybody believes it for sure now. Okay, it's like now it's sinking in, even though they knew, the China never admitted it because they got non-disclosure agreements and things of that nature. You can't say what factory they get it from, and that they got agreements. But ever since the trade war, this sparked it off, man. And the scariest thing about it is why gold is going up. Okay, and when the IMF talked about the uncertainty in the U.S. market, that's because the bond market is cratering. Okay, the bond market has got major cracks in the foundation because the foundation of the bond market is U.S. Treasuries. Okay, I think I did a search in Chat GPT earlier. Do I have it on this phone? Yeah, U.S. Treasuries. So the total bond market, the U.S. Treasuries make up 27 trillion in the U.S. bond market. 27 trillion. That's all debt that America has outstanding. Okay, but obviously it's got over 30-something trillion. So they have more debt than just bonds. Okay, but the U.S. bonds are the primary means by how they rack up debt. 27. The next closest one is 9 trillion. So you got 27 trillion. The next closest is 9 trillion. And guess what those are? Mortgage-backed securities, real estate. Okay, now we know a lot of those mortgage-backed securities on the market, those are actually holdovers from 2008. They never got rid of those things. We never paid for those mortgage-backed securities. The Fed just bought them and held on to them to stabilize the bond market. But they're still not good. No, those securities are still dog shit. Okay? So the number one and number two in the bond market is basically highly suspect and questionable. And so this is why the entire U.S. economy is shaky right now, because like one guy put it, he said that the bond market is like the plumbing of the economy. Okay? It's not the water, but it's like the plumbing. America runs off of debt and financing and liquidity. So the bonds are how most corporations, the next big one is corporate bonds. Most corporations, they issue a bond to go Walmart, they make investments. They issue bonds, man. And so now Japan started selling hella treasury bonds, okay, because they hold the most. And so even though they're treasury bonds, it affects the entire bond market, because when you start selling something, it causes all of the prices to go down, okay? And when you're selling U.S. Treasuries, that shows a lack of confidence in the U.S. dollar, their ability to pay it back. And they should, because America budgets a deficit every year. You know America's going to spend more than it takes in every year with no end in sight. So why would they have confidence in the U.S. dollar, man? Okay? And so when the bond market goes down, all right, that shows a lack of confidence in the U.S. dollar. And when the U.S. dollar loses confidence, gold goes up. Now, if I were to check gold, let me see where it's at right now. 3,300, man. And that's actually down from what it was a couple of days ago. I believe it hit 34. It hit almost. Oh yeah. Yeah, it did. It hit 34 on yesterday, man. So gold is down now compared to yesterday, but that is crazy. These are all-time highs. Gold has an inverse relationship with the U.S. dollar. Okay, when gold goes up, the U.S. dollar index goes down, and they thought that, that they were solid, but everybody's looking at the United States being like, you motherfuckers are crazy, man. Okay? Y'all are crazy. Let me go back to this 1 Timothy 6:17. It says, charge them that are rich in this world, they that be high-minded, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living power, who giveth us richly all things to enjoy, man. So we already rich, man. Okay? Imagine if you own or if you have a lottery ticket worth $1 trillion. Okay, well, you haven't cashed it in yet, but you have the ticket. Okay, it may suck. You may have to still ride the bus to go to the bank or whatever, but you have it, man. It don't feel like it right now, but we are rich, man. Okay, we have the pearl of great price. Okay, and the rest of y'all are fucked. Okay, there's no other way to put that. You know, excuse my French, I could have used a different word. Forgive me. You know, but you know, ultimately, we are good, man. We own stock in the world to come, okay? Because we know this world, the market is going to crash, man. All right? When you read Revelation 18, which I can get, everybody's going to be mourning when America goes down, okay? And you're not of the elect, so you're not going to have a major investment into the new kingdom. This is why we hasten for this place to get destroyed, man. All right? It says, verse 18, 1 Timothy 6 and 18, it says that they do good, that they be rich in good works, ready to distribute, willing to communicate. All right, so that's our richness, man, doing the work, being faithful to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, okay, doing things that are pleasing to him. It says, verse 19, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may lay hold on eternal life. And the time to come is going to be all hell breaking loose, man. All right, I just read that in Ezekiel. They're gonna throw out their silver because of the day of the Lord. Okay, so our investment, we made the right investments now, because Donald Trump has proven that the monetary, first of all, is too complicated. Okay, it's all witchcraft, and it's designed to destroy you, man. It not only will destroy you, but it will enrich your enemy at the same damn time, okay? You know, dealing with the US dollar is like paying a man to pop your wife, okay? It's very, it's how the women say, it's giving Chief Freak Gomorrah Hebrew, okay? That's what it's like dealing with the US dollar, man. Okay, you actually pay money to live a lower quality of life, but you don't feel it right away. They distract you and give you conveniences so you don't feel it, but then by the time you feel it, it's too late. Okay, it's a poison. But we laid up our foundations in heaven, man. Okay, let me go back to that Ezekiel 7 and 19 real quick. Only 2 precepts so far. I'll get one more, maybe 2 more. I'm already going 17 minutes. Ezekiel 7 and 19 again, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh. So we like we said, we put up our investments so we're defended in the day, like the scripture just said in Timothy. Okay? What are y'all gonna have, man? Okay? Your portfolios, your thing, this is not gonna save you people, okay? America made a grave mistake, all right? And then the nations don't want to do anything with her, man, all right? I was gonna read part of Revelation 17 just to give you an idea of the philosophy and the spirit that America is in, all right? You know, like it's into a very a drunk whore with a lot of money and precious stones and things around her, but she's a drunk whore, belligerent, knocking things over. You know, it don't say that, but you know, you get the spirit of what the whore was like, all right? And when you read down, all right, you see the other nations basically get fed up with this whore, okay? I'll read that part actually. Revelation 17 and 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, that's the rest of Europe, because they're pissed off too at Trump, okay? It says, these shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked. So they're going to hate her at first, which we're seeing that right now, okay? The desolation is on the way because America's about to get wiped out over this trade war. You never stood a chance in a trade war. You don't make nothing, man. You're the military, man. Stick to that. You got too proud, okay? But you can't even maintain your military agreements. You won't even support your own wicked allies in NATO. Talking about they ain't paying enough for NATO. Well, that nigga, that's your job, okay? Is to be the military. for Europe, okay? So you see they're fighting. You know, because Trump wants to be number one in the economy, and he wants to be the number one military, and he wants to be perceived as righteous, but you can't do all things. You're supposed to be a division of labor, okay? And so this is what's going to happen. It says, and they shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So ultimately, this is going to result in thermonuclear destruction. That's how this whole thing is going to end. All right. What are we seeing right here in Revelation 18? Speaking about the angel, Revelation 18:2, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Okay, so when it declares that it's fallen, the people are still here at that point. Okay, so basically that's happening now. It says, verse 3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath for fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. Okay, selling you a $10,000 bag and they making it for $20, man. That's wild, man. And the other nations knew. They sold you out. Who they sell it to? Niggas. Who promotes it in music and television? Okay, and sports entertainment? Niggas, man. Okay. They like the scriptures say. Keep going. It says, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Okay, why? Because America's a big mall. Okay. It's not a manufacturing juggernaut like China or even Germany, okay? They're not. They buy things here, okay? And that's not sustainable, okay? It says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues, all right? And that goes in not being invested, man. Like I said, we made our investments, our investments are laid up in heaven, okay? So again, we'll be defended in the day when that time comes. It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. So this is the time of judgment, all right? That's why the IMF is sending these signals, all right, that America is not going to make it. Okay, that what they say is going to be a downturn. No, they're going to have to completely get rid of the U.S. dollar, and we already know what's next after that. So with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachab Badash Alamam, Kam Yashro.